Fallout has had many controversies, from fans getting mad when Van Buren was killed 95% of the way through development to 2 decades of broken promises, false advertising, and corporate greed that would make Vault-Tec executives jealous. Today, I'm breaking down every single Fallout controversy that nearly destroyed the franchise. And there's one controversy so unforgivable that Bethesda's lawyers tried to delete it from the internet. Cancelled game. Van Buren was supposed to be Fallout 3. Black Isle Studios had 95% finished working engine, vehicle combat, and moral choices that actually mattered. Tim Kaine, Fallout's creator, told them they needed just 18 more months to create something revolutionary. Instead, Interplay fired the entire team while claiming financial stability. They stood in front of employees saying everything was fine while pink slips were being printed in the back office. The leaked design documents revealed what we lost: prisoner origins that changed everything, not just the opening. Your character's crime would affect how NPCs reacted throughout the entire game. Murder someone? Towns would fear you. Political prisoner? Revolutionaries would trust you instantly. The depth was staggering compared to what came later. The cancellation came down to Interplay needing immediate cash. They thought a console action game would sell faster than a complex RPG. They chose quick money over artistic integrity, setting a pattern that would haunt Fallout forever. But if you thought losing a masterpiece was painful, Interplay's next move would insult every fan alive. And hidden in the game's code was something so embarrassing, they tried to bury it forever. Betrayal. Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. Remember that embarrassing secret? Data miners found commented out code showing they originally planned to include dating mechanics. In Fallout, dating mechanics. Fans called it POS instead of boss, and that's the polite version. Desperate for cash, Interplay created a mindless hack and slash with a Slipknot soundtrack that belonged nowhere near Fallout. They included Ball's energy drink product placement in a nuclear wasteland. Think about that. Civilization destroyed, but energy drink ads survived the apocalypse. Somehow branded beverages were more resilient than human society. The Brotherhood became cool action heroes with one-liners instead of technology-hoarding isolationists who'd shoot you for looking at a laser rifle. Combat was button mashing through identical mutants that respawned endlessly. Dual wielding made no sense in Fallout's tactical world. The metal punk aesthetic felt more like a Mad Max ripoff than post-nuclear America. Characters wore leather and spikes instead of practical wasteland gear. Stores literally couldn't give copies away. They ended up in bargain bins within weeks. Bethesda later declared it non-canon because it contradicted everything, from the Brotherhood's founding to how radiation worked. The worst part? They planned sequels. Actual sequels to this disaster while Van Buren died. They prioritized this trash over the real Fallout 3. This disaster bankrupted Interplay. Strike one against the franchise. What happened next determined Fallout's fate forever. Lawsuit. Bethesda bought Fallout for $5.75 million, but Interplay kept MMO rights. Then Interplay broke the contract with no funding, no development, just empty promises. Bethesda sued them into oblivion. 3 years of legal warfare that cost more than developing actual games. Interplay claimed progress with Masthead Studios on Project V13. Court documents revealed they needed $30 million funding by specific dates. They had nothing, not even basic design documents, just concept art and a prayer. Interplay showed proof concept art that looked like it was drawn in MS Paint and promises that development was ongoing. Their evidence included screenshots from other games with Fallout logos photoshopped on. Some developers claimed working builds with revolutionary features, but Bethesda buried everything after winning. The courtroom drama was intense. Brian Fargo and Todd Howard became bitter enemies, throwing accusations through lawyers. Fargo claimed Bethesda was stealing the MMO rights. Howard claimed Interplay was squatting on the license without creating anything. Both were probably right. The 2012 settlement gave Bethesda complete control for just $2 million more. Interplay walked away with nothing but debt and broken dreams. The failed MMO supposedly included player-controlled vaults, where you'd manage dwellers while playing. All of it died in court. Years of potential development turned into legal fees. The money spent on lawyers could have funded Van Buren twice over. Bethesda won everything. Then they destroyed everything fans loved. Strike two. One more and Fallout dies forever. Butchered. Bethesda turned Fallout into a first-person shooter with pause button combat. VATS became slow-motion gore porn instead of tactical planning. The Brotherhood transformed from xenophobic technology hoarders to noble knights protecting peasants. Elder Lyons' chapter somehow forgot their entire codex because he felt bad for wastelanders. Super mutants appeared everywhere on the East Coast, impossible without the Master's specific FEV strain. Vault 87 somehow created identical mutants with completely different FEV. No explanation how they looked exactly the same or acted identically aggressive. The Brotherhood transformation was terrible. What they did to ghouls was unimaginable. The Enclave returned from complete destruction with no explanation of survival. They were literally nuked in Fallout 2. Their oil rig exploded. Everyone died. But somehow they had massive bases everywhere. President Eden being AI was cool, but how did scattered remnants become a major power with vertibirds and endless soldiers? Dialogue simplified to basic good or evil choices, with no nuance. Give water to beggars or murder them. No middle ground. No complex faction relationships where helping one meant betraying another. You couldn't be properly evil, forced to find dad, forced to care about Project Purity. The game literally wouldn't progress unless you pretended to care about James's boring water purifier. They moved everything to Washington, D.C., ignoring 2 games of carefully crafted West Coast lore. Just abandoned it. Ghouls became zombies instead of complex irradiated humans with memories and personalities. They ran at you screaming instead of shambling sadly. 3 dog broadcasting across the wasteland with no infrastructure made 0 sense. 1 radio tower reaching hundreds of miles through collapsed buildings and radiation storms. 200 years passing, but everything freshly nuked. People scavenging supermarkets after 2 centuries instead of growing food. Pre-war food was somehow still edible. Nobody thought to plant crops or rebuild anything substantial, and that's nothing compared to Little Lamplight's impossible existence. Little Lamplight, an entire town of only children that somehow survived 200 years. How? Where did new kids come from? Who fed babies? The game didn't care about logic. Tim Kaine diplomatically called it lore drift to avoid burning bridges. The game sold millions while original fans mourned. Fallout 3 saved the franchise commercially but killed it spiritually. But Bethesda wasn't done destroying legacies. Their next victim? The developers who saved them and the number that destroyed everything? 84. Robbery. Obsidian created the best modern Fallout in 18 months. Bethesda denied them royalties because Metacritic showed 84 instead of 85. 1. Single. Point. Millions of dollars lost over 1 point. The contract demanded exactly 85 for royalties. No partial payment for getting close. No bonus for creating the most beloved entry. Obsidian got 18 months using Fallout 3's already broken engine. The game launched with massive bugs because of Bethesda's impossible timeline. They literally didn't have time to playtest the entire game. Xbox saves are corrupted randomly, destroying dozens of hours. PS3 performance degraded until literally unplayable, and frame rates dropping to slideshow levels. PC players needed console commands for broken quests that wouldn't trigger. Doc Mitchell's head would spin 360 degrees. Raiders would fly into the sky. Entire quest lines would break if you talked to NPCs in the wrong order. Reviews knocked points specifically for technical issues. Fans saw exploitation. Obsidian needed that money. Bethesda made millions, while Obsidian laid off staff. People who created New Vegas lost their jobs while Bethesda counted profits. The irony? New Vegas is now considered the best modern Fallout, while 3 and 4 are dumbed down for casuals. Obsidian wanted post-game content where your choices actually mattered. Obsidian lost money creating the franchise's most beloved entry. They made Bethesda look good and got punished for it. They got screwed making a masterpiece. Players got screwed even worse with what came next. Silenced. Fallout 4 reduced all dialogue to 4 vague options mapped to controller buttons. Added voiced protagonists nobody wanted, cutting dialogue possibilities by 70%. You'd select sarcastic thinking you'd make a witty joke, but actually insult someone's dead mother and fail the quest. The protagonist said completely different things than suggested. Support dance could mean I agree, or let's commit genocide. Sometimes all 4 options led to identical responses with slightly different wording. Yes, sure, okay, and affirmative. The illusion of choice they gave was worse than no choice at all. As well, voiced protagonists meant recording everything twice, limiting total dialogue to what actors could record in time and budget. Professional actors with terrible direction because Emil Pagliarulo thought keep it simple meant make it boring. Males sounded bored reading shopping lists. Females overacted everything like community theater. Complex speech checks replaced with single charisma percentage that made character builds meaningless. Play a genius scientist? Talk like an idiot. Play a smooth talker. Same exact options. You couldn't see percentages, just yellow, orange, red, colors that meant nothing. 30% chance? 70%? Who knows? Just roll dice. Can't convince someone? Too bad. Murder is your only option now. Couldn't preview dialogue before selecting. The system was so bad that modders fixed it within a week. Full dialogue interface became essential. Silent protagonist mods had millions of downloads. Players preferred mute characters over Bethesda's professional voice acting. Todd Howard admitted in 2016 it didn't work after defending it for years. Fallout 4's dialogue proved Bethesda cared more about controller accessibility than RPG depth, but simplification was nothing compared to their monetization schemes. This should have been Strike 3, but the worst was still coming. Greed. Creation Club launched after Steam paid mods failed spectacularly in 2015. Bethesda called them mini DLCs, while charging charging $10 for single items. Curated and compatible content was literally free Nexus mods behind paywalls. Hellfire Power Armor already existed free before appearing for $12. Single weapons cost more than entire expansion packs from other developers. Horse armor looked reasonable compared to $5 paint jobs that changed one RGB value. The infamous Prey suit cost $8 for an outfit you'd wear once. Modders accused Bethesda of stealing when similar mods appeared in Creation Club. Modular backpack looked exactly like existing free mod down to the texture work. Chinese stealth suit was already available free. Bethesda claimed parallel development, while modders posted timestamps proving they came first. The system downloaded all files whether purchased or not, bloating installs by gigabytes. Console players with 500GB drives lost 10% of storage to content they couldn't access. PC players found entire DLCs worth of locked content sitting on drives. Pete Hines defended it, saying, "Modders deserved payment, ignoring Bethesda taking 70% of profits. Creators got flat payment of maybe $500 while Bethesda profited forever on their work." Creation Club broke mods with every update because it altered core game files. Script Extender needed constant updates for minor additions, breaking hundreds of dependent mods. The community spent more time fixing compatibility than creating new content. Load orders became impossible to manage with Creation Club injecting itself randomly. They turned the community keeping their games alive into a cash grab that actively hurt that same community. If you thought monetizing mods was greedy, Fallout 76 took disasters to apocalyptic levels. But first, there's one detail about the launch that Bethesda desperately tried to hide, and when players discovered it, everything changed. Disaster. Fallout 76 launched online only with no NPCs, game-breaking bugs, unplayable servers. Not just bad, a masterclass in reputation destruction that took years to partially recover from. That hidden detail? The game's files contained a fully functional offline mode. They deliberately disabled it to force it to be always online. Constant crashes with error CE 348780 that Bethesda never explained or fixed. Just were investigating for months. Random disconnects losing hours of progress with no reconnect feature. Weight management became the real enemy, not radiation or monsters. Bobby pins weighed more than ammunition. Players found immortality exploits within hours. Bethesda's response? Asked cheaters to write 500-word essays about why cheating was bad, like elementary school punishment. One player duplicated millions of items, crashing entire servers with lag. Another found developer rooms with every item. Bethesda panic banned anyone who touched unreleased content. Even picking up items accidentally meant permanent ban. Empty World accept robots and holotapes because players would create their own stories. Every quest followed dead people through audio logs to discover they died horribly. The main story involved launching nukes that other players could interrupt, ruining hours of preparation. Imagine spending 3 hours gathering codes just for someone to steal your launch. Console players experienced single-digit frame rates during any combat. PC players with RTX 2080s got stuttering constantly. The engine from 2011 couldn't handle multiplayer. It was never designed for this. No push-to-talk meant broadcasting everyone's microphones, constantly crying babies, domestic arguments, smoke alarms. Friends list didn't work, so you couldn't find people to play with. This became the new standard for failed releases. At least it's not Fallout 76 became the measurement for disasters. But the technical disaster was nothing compared to the mountain of scandals that followed. This was Strike 3, and the entire franchise on fire. Fraud. Power Armor Edition promised canvas bag for $200. Delivered nylon garbage looking like grocery store bags. Bethesda's response deserves full quotation. "We aren't planning on doing anything about it." That's customer service's actual response to fraud complaints. They literally said canvas was too expensive despite charging $200 for the edition. Offered 500 atoms worth $5 as compensation. Digital canvas bag in store cost 700 atoms. They offered less than the virtual version of what they stole. Adding insult to injury doesn't capture the audacity. Government agencies investigated false advertising. Multiple law firms assembled class actions. Gaming sites that normally stayed neutral published articles calling it disgraceful. Influencers who'd promoted the edition made apology videos. They eventually agreed to manufacture canvas bags after months of backlash, legal threats, and mainstream media coverage. The claim process required uploading receipts to a website that looked like a phishing scam. Many never received replacements. Others got them over a year later. Some received multiple bags by mistake, while others got nothing. Pete Hines called this probably the dumbest thing during his tenure, understating dramatically. Internal emails revealed they knew about Nylon Switch before manufacturing but stayed silent. They knowingly committed fraud. The entire edition was false advertising from top to bottom. This wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate fraud against their most dedicated fans. 2 scandals deep, and we're just getting started because what happened next involved actual poison. Scammed. Nuka Dark Rum. $80 for bottom shelf rum in plastic shell arriving 6 months late. International customers never received theirs due to shipping restrictions nobody checked. Tracking numbers didn't work. Customer service didn't respond. The rum tasted like mixing rubbing alcohol with flat cola and regret, according to every review. Professional reviewers said it was $10 rum marked up 800%. The 35% alcohol content was lower than most rums, basically watered down garbage with artificial flavoring that tasted like cough syrup. One reviewer said it was undrinkable unless mixed with enough Coke to hide the taste entirely. Plastic shell looked like dollar store Halloween decoration made from the cheapest possible material. No lights despite promotional images suggesting it. No features. Just cheap molded plastic that served no purpose. Shells arrived cracked, broken, or missing entirely. Some received empty shells with no bottle inside. Silver screen bottling went completely silent after launch. Deleted social media. Removed contact information. Website crashed from complaints and never returned. They apparently declared bankruptcy shortly after, taking unfulfilled orders with them. Bethesda offered refunds only after class action threats, required returning at your shipping cost, often $30 to $50 for international customers. Many ate the loss rather than spending more money. Product vanished from existence. The Atomic Shop charges $18 for blue power armor paint, but data miners found something Bethesda never wanted you to see: the real prices they originally planned exploitation. Literally, one color slider adjustment costs more than entire indie games. What is even more shocking is that original price sheets showed $50 for power armor skins. They lowered them after internal testing showed even employees wouldn't pay. Repair kits fix gear anywhere, saving time and resources. Scrap kits solve weight problems they intentionally created. Refrigerators that stop food spoilage. Collectrons that gather resources while offline. All pay to win in a game that promised no advantages. Santa outfit costs $20 during Christmas. Liberty Prime power armor costs $30. Blue paint costs $18. A door costs $10. A single door. The shop uses manipulative currency to buy 500, 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 atoms, but items cost 300, 700, 1,400, 1,800. Always leftover atoms forcing more purchases. Can't buy exact amounts by design. Limited time offers create artificial scarcity, 24 hours only, then returns next week. Items rotate randomly, preventing planning. Classic Fallout items locked behind paywalls instead of earnable through gameplay. Ranger armor from New Vegas costs $20. Enclave bundles cost $30. Everything iconic costs extra. Data miners found hundreds of items cut from base game to sell separately. Entire quest rewards removed to push shop purchases. Camp decorations that should be craftable only available for atoms. The best looking items all paywalled, while in-game rewards look deliberately terrible to push sales. The Atomic Shop turned Fallout 76 into $60 entry fee for a mobile game monetization scheme. But there's an even more expensive scam that makes the shop look reasonable. Paywall. Fallout First. $100 annual subscription for features that should have been free updates. Private servers weren't even private. Private worlds allowed random players to join through friends lists you couldn't control. Unlimited Scrapbox was pure pay to win, where inventory management was core challenge. Free players threw away materials constantly while subscribers hoarded everything. Survival Tent gave portable spawn point and stash massive advantages everywhere. Place it during events for instant respawn. Use it to grief players by blocking doorways. Subscribers got 1650 atoms monthly, admitting shop prices were predatory by subsidizing them. NCR Ranger outfit locked behind subscription alongside faction items that defined Fallout. Classic content held hostage behind recurring payment. Exclusive emotes that identified you as someone who paid for advantages. Yearly subscribers found private servers, deleted progress randomly between sessions. Workshops disappeared. Resources vanished. NPCs reset. Private worlds weren't persistent. Nothing saved properly. You'd build elaborate camps that vanished into void. The servers were just regular servers with player limits set to 8 instead of 24. Service launched October 2019, while game-breaking bugs from launch remained unfixed. Power armor disappearing. Friends lists not working. Quests breaking. But they had time to implement subscription system. Priorities were clear monetization over fixes. Unlimited scrap boxes deleted everything during updates. Players lost thousands of resources. Support said items were unrecoverable and hundreds of hours vanished. Subscription auto-renewed after cancellation. Customers charged multiple times. Support blamed system errors while keeping money. Charging subscriptions for basic features in broken game was peak corporate greed. They also leaked everyone's personal information because security didn't matter either. Leaked. Bethesda doxed customers submitting Canvas bag tickets through their own website. Full names, addresses, phone numbers, partial credit cards exposed. Support website glitched, allowing anyone to see anyone else's tickets. Log in for your issue. See hundreds of strangers' information instead. Screenshots circulated showing everything: credit card numbers, home addresses, phone numbers, email addresses. Some reported seeing purchase histories and previous support tickets going back years. Website website emergency shutdown but damage done information screenshot, shared, potentially sold. No way to know how long vulnerability existed. Could have been days or months. Security experts said it showed incompetent coding that freshman programmers would avoid. Basic authentication checks completely missing. Database queries returning all results instead of filtered ones. No compensation beyond basic "we're sorry" email to affected customers. No free atoms. No subscription time. No security monitoring. Nothing. European customers threatened GDPR violations worth 4% of global revenue. Potential fines in millions. Nothing came publicly, but settlements might have happened privately. Happened during Canvas bag scandal. Making everything worse. Customers already angry about fraud now had identities exposed. Some reported identity theft attempts afterward. Spam calls increased. Phishing emails using information from leak. Bethesda denied connection despite obvious correlation. Showed incompetence extended beyond games to security. Company couldn't be trusted with game code or credit cards, though incompetence turned malicious with refund denials. Illegal. Bethesda refused refunds claiming downloading meant accepting broken product. Customers who couldn't play due to bugs told they weren't entitled to money back. Violated consumer protection laws in multiple countries. Australian Competition and Consumer Commission specifically called them out. European Union consumer protection agencies opened investigations. Law firms assembled class actions. Gaming media covered it as potentially criminal behavior. Players documented everything game-breaking bugs. Unable to launch. Progress deletion. Still denied with copy-paste responses about too much playtime. Timer started from purchase, not playing. Downloading 50 GB day one patch counted as playing. Sitting in the queue counted. Being disconnected counted. Everything except actual gameplay counted against refund eligibility. Only offered refunds after legal pressure and mainstream media coverage. The process is intentionally mystified with multiple forms, verification requirements, long waiting periods. Players trying to fix a game for 30 hours were told they played too much, despite never completing the tutorial. Required extensive documentation that casual players wouldn't have. Rural players with slow internet spent literal days downloading patches before discovering the game didn't work. By then, too much time had passed. People disputing charges through banks had entire Bethesda accounts banned. Lost access to Skyrim, Fallout 4, everything purchased legitimately. Support refused unbanning even after charge disputes were resolved. Policy is policy. Denying refunds for broken products wasn't just unethical, courts confirmed it was illegal. But anti-consumer behavior peaked with their cheater solution. Something so infantilizing you won't believe it's real until you see the actual screenshots. Essays. Bethesda asked banned cheaters to write 500-word essays about why cheating is bad, treating paying customers like misbehaving children. The developer room contained every item including unreleased content for next year. Players finding it could spawn unlimited legendaries, breaking the economy permanently. Instead of fixing exploits that existed since beta, Bethesda demanded handwritten essays for redemption. Handwritten in 2019. Photographed and emailed. Support agents allegedly read these, judging if cheaters were sufficiently sorry. Most cheaters created new accounts in the time it took to write an essay. The requirement became an instant meme. People submitted joke essays testing if anyone read them. Cheating bad, Todd Howard good, repeated 500 times. Unbanned. Entire B-movie script? Unbanned. Recipe for soup? Unbanned. The system was completely arbitrary. Meanwhile, actual hackers using aimbots and invincibility went unpunished for months. Nuclear Winter Battle Royale mode was unplayable due to cheaters. Players crashing servers intentionally got 3-day suspensions. Item dupers got permanent bans unless they wrote essays. No consistency whatsoever. Different support reps had different requirements. Some wanted 500 words, others 1,000. Some accepted typed, others demanded handwritten. Some unbanned without essays. Others rejected perfect essays for lack of sincerity. Complete chaos. Showed Bethesda couldn't manage online games or even consistent policies. All these disasters pale compared to the controversy that nearly started civil war in the fandom. Canon. Amazon's show nuked Shady Sands in 2277. Fans immediately accused Todd Howard of erasing New Vegas from existence. Timeline showed bombing before New Vegas even happens. NCR still powerful in 2281 according to the game, placed the city in Los Angeles instead of the established Death Valley location. Fans created elaborate conspiracies that Bethesda deliberately retconned Obsidian's superior work out of jealousy. Show barely mentioned Legion despite controlling half the map. Made NCR look incompetent and weak instead of massive democracy. Instead of spanning California with a working government, scattered remnants remnants hiding in vaults like raiders. Caesar's Legion controlling Arizona and Colorado doesn't get named once. The most interesting faction erased. Vault-Tec was revealed as starting the Great War fundamental lore change about nuclear exchange. Games kept it ambiguous between China and America, making it thematically irrelevant who shot first. Now, evil corporations have destroyed the world for profit. Cartoonishly simple. Removes the moral complexity of mutual destruction. Todd Howard and showrunners publicly stated, New Vegas is still canon after fan uprising nearly burned down social media. Claimed dates were intentionally vague, despite showing 22/7 clearly on screen. Said Shady Sands fell before bombing, whatever that means. Fans didn't buy it. Tim Kaine defended changes, saying, lore drift inevitable when ownership changes. Pointed out he lost control when Bethesda bought the franchise. Why get upset now? Chris Avellone stayed completely silent despite creating much of New Vegas lore. Other developers made cryptic tweets suggesting unhappiness. Brotherhood is shown with massive resources despite being nearly extinct on the West Coast, according to New Vegas, flying armada of airships when they should have one barely working one. Mr. House attended a pre-war meeting despite his paranoid personality making that impossible. Character who never left Vegas somehow in Los Angeles centuries earlier. Fans dissected every frame finding contradictions, created timeline spreadsheets proving impossibilities. Show creators did damage control interviews that raised more questions. Controversy dominated discussion for months, still unresolved. Fans split between it's fine and they killed New Vegas. The show proved even successful adaptations can't escape Fallout's curse of controversy. Every controversy I've shown you was leading to something. A pattern so obvious, so cynical, that once you see it, you'll understand why Fallout was doomed from the moment Bethesda touched it. Pattern revealed. After Van Buren's murder, Obsidian's robbery, 76's disasters, fraud, leaks, illegal refunds, you see the pattern. Each controversy gets worse. Each scandal is brazen. Each betrayal is more profitable. From Interplay's desperate cash grabs to Bethesda's calculated exploitation, Fallout became gaming's most abused franchise. Van Buren's cancellation killed artistic ambition. Brotherhood of Steel showed contempt for the audience. The lawsuit gave Bethesda unlimited power over franchises they didn't understand. They transformed Fallout into an unrecognizable product, denied Obsidian deserved payment for saving them, silenced player expression with dialogue wheels, monetized free mods, launched broken games knowing they're broken, committed actual fraud with canvas bags, scammed with rum that wasn't what advertised, exploited with predatory shop prices, paywalled features behind subscriptions, leaked customer information through incompetence, refused legal refunds until threatened with jail, treated players like children with essay punishments, then possibly erased the only good modern game from canon out of spite. Pattern is clear. Maximum profit, minimum effort, zero respect for legacy or players. The future. Microsoft owns Bethesda now. Some hope for redemption under new management. Others expect worse exploitation with bigger budgets for disappointment. Fallout 5 is coming eventually. Will it respect legacy or add more controversies to this list? Will it learn from disasters or double down on monetization? Will it honor New Vegas or complete its erasure? The pattern suggests we already know. Each game is more expensive, more monetized, more simplified, more controversial, because controversy generates engagement. Engagement drives sales. Sales justify everything. The cycle continues. War never changes. Neither does greed. Fallout didn't just generate gaming's biggest controversies. It became one. A 20-year catastrophe is still unfolding. A franchise proving you can kill something beloved and profit from its corpse forever. If you enjoyed this complete breakdown and want to see every vault's hidden secret exposed, click on the screen now.